Hello, this is Judy Dodge, your host for Coffee with the Commissioners. We have a very, very important half hour here with Jane Keiffer, who is Executive Director of Artemis Center. Now, Jane, before we get into the talk about Artemis Center, why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself? Are you a Dayton native? Did you grow up here? Where you went to school? And how you got to be the Executive Director?
Perfect. Well, thank you. Yes. I was actually born and raised in Fostoria, Ohio.
Okay.
And I got my undergraduate from the University of Toledo.
Okay.
And then I took a year off and I volunteered with an organization called the Christian Appalachia Project down in Kentucky.
Okay.
And then after that, I started my master's program at UK at Kentucky and became a social worker. And then was down there for about 2 years and came back to Ohio and landed my job at Artemis. And I started as a victim advocate out at Riverside, helping survivors. And I've had several jobs along the way. And 8 years ago, I became the executive director.
Great, great. Well, you do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
So we're going to discuss Artemis Center, everything that you do. But let's start with the name, Artemis Center.
Yes.
How did Artemis come to be?
Well, Artemis came to be, there were a group of women, about 5 women, who came together to realize that sheltering services are so important for survivors of domestic violence, but many survivors don't need shelter, and they needed supportive services. So that's how Artemis was gleaned from their eyes. And the name comes from, she's a Greek goddess. She's the protector of children and women, and she's the guardian of light. And so that's where the name comes from. And I know sometimes people get confused, like Artemis and domestic violence, but she's a Greek goddess.
Okay. Wow. Are there other Artemis centers? I'm probably saying that wrong. Artemis centers around, let's say, Ohio. Is that a unique name or?
We're a unique name and a unique organization. Most
Okay.
domestic violence organizations are shelters. And so we are, I think, one of 4 non-shelter services in Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So let's start at the beginning. What do you do in a day?
Yeah.
Besides sad, I'm sure a lot of
Yes.
tension and sadness. So.
Yeah. So we provide supportive services to survivors of intimate partner violence. And so a lot of it's safety planning, helping them make sure that they're safe. So we do what's called a lethality assessment, and that's kind of looking at the relationship. How dangerous is this relationship? And based on that information, that kind of helps us safety plan with the survivor. We do a lot of crisis intervention because people call clearly in crisis and upset because they've been abused. Sometimes people call our hotline because they're not even sure if they've been abused. Like it's really just information and understanding. But our services really are answering a 24-hour hotline. We go to court with survivors. So we'll either go to a criminal court. So if my abuser was charged with domestic violence, we kind of help them navigate the criminal court process, going to the arraignment and the pretrial and the trial. And then we also go to civil court. So maybe I get a protection order, a civil protection order against my abuser. And so we'll go and, again, provide court accompaniment. We're not allowed to practice law. We don't speak, but it really is that supportive piece. And then we can debrief afterward. So we really help them in the court system.
Wow. Okay. How many people work there? How many people do you have on staff?
We're a staff of 18.
18.
Small but mighty.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about the phone number.
Yes.
Because this is your emergency number. You can, people, if you think you have a problem, you can call it 24 hours a day, even Christmas.
Even Christmas.
Even Christmas.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's 937-461-4357, and
Okay.
that spells help. So 461-HELP.
Help. Okay. And we'll say this for a couple more times in case
Great.
someone, yeah.
Yes.
And also, you're on the web. What am
Yep.
I? Yeah.
ArtemisCenter.org.
ArtemisCenter.org, and it's all one word.
All one word.
ArtemisCenter.org.
And what's really important about ArtemisCenter.org is we have a web chat feature. So if you're not comfortable calling on the phone, you can go and click to chat. And then people maybe who are deaf or hard of hearing or just need to be quiet, they can chat with us and we can talk with them that way.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yes.
Wow.
And then we have an escape button. So if your abuser were to happen to walk in, you can hit the escape button and it gets rid of your history.
Yeah, yeah. Now, have you seen an increase in the fact that people need help?
Yes. sincerely, since COVID, when people were really shut down and stayed at home and there was no resources, nowhere to go, people tolerated a lot during that time. So we have seen a steady increase of violence. And our state coalition, which is Ohio Domestic Violence Network, just did a study. And from last year to this year, we saw a 34% increase in lethality, in homicides, I'm sorry. So there was an increase of survivors dying. And I think that's unfortunately going to continue to rise.
Wow. Wow. I'm sure you probably have heard the worst kind of stories, and the worst families. And do you have many men that come in?
Thank you for asking, because people think that we don't serve men, and we do serve men. The important piece is statistics show us, Department of Justice, CDC, everyone shows us 85 to 95% of victims are women, but there's that 15 to 5% are men, and we do serve men. We serve the survivor. We don't do any batter intervention programming. We just really work with the survivors.
Okay. And how long do you work with these individuals? Is it like 2 or 3 days and that's it, or months?
All the above. Sometimes people just make a phone call and get their questions answered.
Okay.
Or if we're going to court with them, that could take a few months. And if they do support group, we do support groups, they could be with us for a year or two.
Okay.
And there's no time limit. They stay as long as they feel they need to be with us.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, you have to keep everything private. You can't,
Yes, everything's confidential. We were talking about the hotline. Yes, survivors call us, but we encourage family members to call us because it's hard to watch someone you love being abused and you want to help. And so we encourage them to call us and we can process that. And community partners. Sometimes you're working with somebody, maybe at the job center, and you don't know what to do. We encourage you to call us and we can, again, we don't have all the answers, but we can certainly brainstorm and help.
Yeah, yeah. Do you find many women or men get the help that they need at that time, and then they, I'm going to leave, I'm not staying, I'm going to leave, but then you find out 2 or 3 weeks later they're right back with them.
Absolutely.
Is that a lot of returning?
That's a lot, because it takes an average to 6 to 8 times to really leave a relationship.
Really?
Yeah.
6 to 8 times?
Mm-hmm. It's a process because, number one, resources. Where are you going to go? How are you going to afford it? First month's rent, deposit, utilities, child care, transportation, it's expensive. And the vast majority of relationships that there's violence is there's a financial component. There's a financial abuse component. And so my abuser's monitoring my money, controlling my money. So that makes it very challenging. And I think it's really important, we forget this, that batters aren't abusive 24/7. Like, there are glimpses of the person that I fell in love with that I believe that they are who they are. And I want to give them a shot. I want my kids to have another parent.
Dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And so a lot of survivors will try to go out and then come back or batter sabotage it, like break their car and they need to come home. Or I always say, do you go to the unknown, and which is scary, or do you go back home to what you know and who you know?
Yeah. Now, do you get involved with family members, let's say the mother of the person or the sister or brother? I mean, is it a family discussion a lot of times?
It's really not. We really work with the survivor because we really try to empower the survivor. In domestic violence relationships, batters typically take the decision-making power away. And so we really want the survivor. Now, if a family member calls us, we'll talk to them. We, can't share if we're working with them or not. But we're really, so sometimes, because again, it's really hard when you're afraid that they're going to be injured or ultimately killed. Like, you want to make it stop, but it's hard because they get to make that decision because they know what they want.
Do you feel that the laws here in the state of Ohio protect these people enough, or do you think that they could be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think they could be stronger.
Stronger, okay.
I think, and I know this is a hard topic for people, but I think people who have a history of violence, we really need to look at gun laws because we know the increase of homicide with an access to a weapon is 5 times more likely to be murdered. So I think those need to be stronger. But yeah, it's hard because for batters to change, they need to be held accountable and take responsibility. But if they keep getting slapped on the wrist, they're not being held accountable. So they think, well, why do I have to change?
Yeah, exactly. The judge is just going to yell at me and tell me not to do it again. And excuse me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do what I want.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess I think of this and I just think of the little children that, the thing. Now, you don't house these people. This is not a shelter.
Correct.
Right. You just help them.
Yep.
Well, obviously, if they're hysterical here and they've called you on the hotline, I have to leave. Where do I go? What do you tell them?
Yeah, that's a great question, too. So we work closely with the YWCA of Dayton.
Okay.
And they're the local shelter.
Yes.
And or we work with all the shelters in the state of Ohio. So sometimes people are afraid to be in the area. And so we'll maybe put them on a Greyhound or give them a gas card to help them get to Cleveland. Or in domestic violence relationships, isolation is a big component. So sometimes batters move us away from our family, and they might live in Indiana or Wisconsin, and we'll help them get back home to be with their support system.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, I'm probably jumping around a little bit, but I keep thinking of these things. How are you funded?
Great question. Mainly grants, government grants, federal grants that are passed through the state. We do events for fundraising, and then we have fantastic donors who help support us in local foundations, United Way, Human Service Levy money.
Okay, okay. I'm sure it's never enough.
It's never enough.
No, never.
Well, because we're looking at safety issues, and we try to always have what we call client assistant funds, so help with changing locks because batters break our doors, window alarms to help us feel better at night, gas cards, bus passes. Excuse me. We help get ring alarms so people, so those types of things to help clients feel safer and more independent are definitely needed.
Huh. Do you have to go through, well, you know what, while I'm thinking about it, though, let me give this number again, the hotline. I want to say this several times, 937-461-4357, and it spells HELP. That's 461-4357.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. Now, what was I saying?
We were talking about funding.
Yes, funding. Okay. Are you, trust me, being a county commissioner, I know the answer very well, but with the state cuts and the federal cuts for everything you could possibly imagine, are you seeing that this could be a really tough year?
I'm very worried about the upcoming year. Yes. I will knock on wood to say right now we're okay, but we do get funding from HUD for housing, and that's been a little tenuous.
Yes.
So I'm worried about that. That's been my biggest fear. We just don't know what this current administration may or may not do for the federal funding.
Yeah. Do you ever have discussions with our local legislators in Washington and or Columbus?
Yeah, so we are part of Ohio Domestic Violence Network, which is our state coalition for domestic violence, and they do an advocacy day. So we go to Columbus once a year to really talk to our representatives. And then I just do a lot of emails or phone calls for people on Capitol Hill.
Okay. Did they get it?
No. That was a little quick, wasn't it? I think it's hard. I always say this is just a fun little, not fun stat. I don't know, that's not right. But 1 in 8 women will experience breast cancer in their lifetime. 1 in 3 experience domestic violence. But we live in a culture that we can talk so more comfortable about breast cancer than we can domestic violence, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is October, same as domestic violence. And if you drive around, you see pink ribbons everywhere, and we should be aware, right? Like it's an important issue. I'm not downing that, but we just helping people understand the depth and the breadth of how domestic violence affects people and the cost. It costs taxpayers and it costs the insurance companies a lot of money. Domestic violence, and people are being injured, going to the hospital, avoiding going to the hospital because they're afraid, all of that. I mean, it's a very connected social determinant.
Yeah, that's very true. Do you have a month of like you said, the cancer in October,
Mm-hmm.
do you, I know you have that wonderful, wonderful breakfast,
Yes.
which is always jammed, and it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Do you, is that I don't remember that we have so many things. Is that a particular month?
Yes.
Okay.
So Domestic Violence Awareness Month is in October as well.
October
Yep.
too. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So
good.
really helping people understand just, I think people have this misnomer of, it's a he said, she said kind of thing, but it really is a pattern of abusive behavior. And it's the fear factor. And not all domestic violence gets physical, right? There's that emotional piece, but the fear of it can be physical is what terrorizes folks.
I know. Okay. Now, I have toured your facility.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have a room with clothes.
Yes.
Because for the children because do they come sometimes with
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Because they don't. People say, go to Artemis, which is great, and we accept folks. But yeah, we really try to keep, especially underwear and socks, basic clothing. We also have a food pantry and a toiletry pantry. So again,
Okay.
no refrigeration because we don't have a refrigerator, but it really is food. One, if people need to be in a hotel, like microwavable food.
Okay.
But we can give them some food to help. Then they can put their money elsewhere towards utilities, towards gas, something like that.
Okay.
And then we have
Interesting.
shampoo and conditioner and diapers and feminine hygiene products and soap and all that stuff too. Because sometimes people do flee without anything.
Anything. Oh my gosh. And
Yes.
I hate to bring this up, not only children, but pets.
Yes. No, that's a great thing to bring up. Thank you. We have a great partnership with SIXA.
Okay.
So it's called a Safe Pets program. So if the survivor's trying to leave and they have a pet, we work with SISCA to help them house the pet while the survivor gets back on their feet.
Okay.
So they know that their
Okay.
pet is loved and cared for. and
Somebody's watching.
Somebody's
yeah. Okay.
watching. Because you're right. A lot of folks don't leave because they're worried about their pets.
Yes, of course.
And we know animal abuse and domestic violence go hand in hand.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because batters want to say, look what I can do to this little cat.
Yep.
I can do this to you.
To you. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly.
So no, we have a great program in this community, which is wonderful.
Good. Now, you've been doing this for 8 years. Have you seen many positive outcomes from this?
Yeah. Well, if I can say, I've been executive director for 8 years. I've been with Artemis for 29 years.
Oh,
so it's been a
okay.
long
Okay.
time with
Okay.
this organization and watching domestic violence in our community. And I do think people are talking about it more than we ever have. It really was behind closed doors. No one's going to know. I think that the awareness is stronger. And I think collaborations in our community are stronger. Like Artemis works really well with the police departments and the sheriff's departments and lots of social service organizations and legal aid and the YWCA. I mean, we work really closely because it really is a community issue and we need everyone to help fix it.
So you haven't necessarily seen what just wonderful outcomes. I mean, maybe a few here and there as far as they reconnected. Let's say he's gone into therapy.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I was trying to get at.
Got it. It
Not
takes
many.
a lot. No, it takes a lot for a batter to change because it's a learned behavior and it takes a lot of work to unlearn that. So what we know is survivors get safe and they move on, but batters will find another victim and then they will continue to victimize somebody else. And then they may move on from that relationship to somebody else. So that part has been hard. And what I would say for our community, we really don't have a lot of batter intervention programs to help the abuser. We certainly have the supports to help survivor. So that's an area that that we're looking at to how can we improve that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Do the survivors, the women that have come through this and maybe they've moved on, they've gotten remarried, and maybe they have in addition some more children, and what do they then perhaps come to you and say, I learned so much. Is there anything I can do for you? I'd love to be able to speak.
Yes.
Some to tell my story that maybe other women can learn from what I saw.
Yeah, we do get that a lot, which is great because it's such a hard job. It's a thankless job a lot, but lots of people do get safe. And a lot of people do want to come back to share their story, to be able to say, I did it, so can you. As you know, we talked about our breakfast every year. We try to have a past survivor kind of share their story, how they got through it, and how Artemis helped. So we certainly have a number of individuals that share that with us. Yes.
That's good. That's
Yes.
good. And okay, now this is another question I have, and that is, okay, so the survivor has moved on. Okay. And what you said was then the one that made them move on, then did you all of a sudden his name appears then say 2 or 3 years later with another woman? Mm-hmm. Do you see that a lot?
Yes.
Yikes.
Yes. Yeah, because the abusive behavior hasn't changed. He hasn't had any intervention. He hasn't done anything different. He just found another victim, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You must get incredible stories, and you must become emotionally involved with some of these victims, and then if something horrible happens, it's like a family, a death in the family, a horrible thing in the family.
It has really, we have seen an increase of some severe violence over the last few years, and it's hard on the staff, and really trying to help support them and navigate the challenges. Because unfortunately, we know in this field that people get injured, like that, unfortunate. But we try really hard to promote self-care within the staff. We really debrief cases. We talk about it. We support one another because it can be so heavy and hard. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Well, is there any story that you could share that our viewers, with no names or anything, that would, be surprised that, something like this happened to someone?
Sure. I just recently, an advocate shared with me, which is the nice part of my job, the stress of funding and making sure we're doing is balanced with I don't have as many client contacts. But the advocate shared with me a case that went to civil court, and the client had evidence where the batterer broke into her house that she was moving out of. She's moving into a new place, and he broke in, destroyed this place, just broke things, and with black paint wrote on the wall, "I hope you're happy now, you whore." And again, it's that message of, you're never going to leave me. You think you're moving out of this space. I'm going to find you. And I think it's important, just as a quick educational piece, a lot of people think, well, just leave. It'll be better. And I think it's really, really important for people to understand when we separate, the violence gets worse in many cases, because domestic violence is about power and control. This person exerting power and control over me. Yep. And if I'm exerting some of my own personal power and control back, it kind of ups the ante, I say, with the abuser. And so they're either going to promise to change, get counseling, stop drinking, whatever it is, or they resort to, if I can't have you, no one will. And so we know 75% of domestic violence homicides occur within about 3 months after separating. So if you pay attention, you read, somebody was murdered, you're going to read, they filed for divorce, they moved out, they said they wanted a protection order. That separation piece escalates the abuser. So sometimes clients will come to us and say, I want to get a protection order, and we'll talk about it. And if it's going to put her at danger, then we're not going to get her a protection order, because that's not worth the risk. But the point of separation is very lethal. And the violence doesn't stop. It's the stalking, it's the harassing, it's driving by my work, it's driving by my house, it's asking my kids, where's your mom, what's she doing? It doesn't stop, even though I left.
Wow. That's kind of scary. Mm-hmm. Now, when you say you go to court, which court do you go to? Is it Dayton, municipal court or common pleas?
So both. So we do a lot of Dayton municipal, and then we're also at Trotwood and Miamisburg and Kettering. Okay. So we go to those criminal courts, and then we work closely with victim witness, which is the felony level. And Artemis, it's very exciting. We are now a dual organization, so with domestic violence and sexual assault. So we'll partner very closely with victim witness, who does hospital response for survivors of sexual assault, and then we'll do supportive services beyond that. Okay. Yes.
And only with 18 people that work there? Dear heaven. Well, on a regular day, how many do you actually help? And I know, and I mean that. I don't mean just somebody's taking a call and they just have questions and then we're fine. I just want to know. But I mean, how many you actually help?
I would say an average between 50 and 30 a day. We serve over. Well, we serve over 7,000 crisis calls. We answer over 7,000 calls, and we serve over 3,000 to 4,000 individuals directly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are most calls late at night, in the middle of the night?
They're not. That's a great question. Thanks for bringing that up. A lot of people think that, but kids are home, organizations are closed, batters are home. So at night, the calls are very quiet. It's during the day that the phone, Mondays after a weekend, usually very, very busy.
Because it was a bad weekend.
It was a bad weekend. We're moving into the holiday, so people try to keep the family together. They want that Norman Rockwell photo of Christmas for them. So that usually it gets a little bit, become the first of the year, we'll get busy again.
Wow. Christmas must be tough on a lot of people.
Tough on a lot. And we have a lovely community. We do a program to help give gifts to survivors and their children. And the community's been very, very generous in helping us provide for them.
Yes. We have a wonderful community because there are so many needs out there.
There are so many needs. Yes.
Scary,
and I mean,
scary.
We also help with housing. Talk about a need, like safe, affordable housing.
That's what I was going to bring up too. And that is, because these people are going to have to go somewhere. To bring their kids and to start over.
Yes.
And if they don't work, my gosh.
Right. It can be very challenging. So we have a housing program that can help survivors up to 2 years, typically not that long, with like rent and utilities just to help them get on their feet while they're saving money and being able to then take over the rent payments and the utility payments.
Yeah. These are just kind of scary things here now. Let's try to think of something more positive before we just have a couple minutes left.
Sure.
But you guys just work all the time.
We do. But you know what? Not that this is about me, but it is a job that is rewarding, and I am so incredibly proud. Like I always say, it takes courage to pick up a phone and talk to a stranger, and the staff knows that we view it as an honor to sit across from somebody to share their deepest secrets, because that's hard and that's really intimate, and to sit and hold that for them when other people haven't been able to do that really is an honor. And I think that we really do help people get safer and really help them feel better about themselves.
Do you have a high burnout rate with your staff? I would think.
We not too bad, actually. Not too bad. And, I say this all the time. Again, therapy, like I encourage everyone to do therapy, just to have that sounding board, because it's a rough field, but it's a rewarding field. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. The emergency call or questions, 937-461-4357, which is help. Help. Spells help.
Yes.
Well, thank you very, very much, Jane Keiffer from Artemis Center. Appreciate all that information, and hopefully our viewers, if they ever have a question, can call.
Yes.
And get the help they need.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.